very much. Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. For those of you who were not at the annual meeting, my name is Tod Pike. I'm president of the Metropolitan Golf Association. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the 121st annual dinner of the Metropolitan Golf Association. Before we start with the formal program, I would call your attention to the LG Signature OLED TV screens for a short video. Well, that was a great video, and your support of the foundation is terrific. We could not be more appreciative of your support of the MGA Foundation. We're looking forward to a wonderful year in 2019 as we celebrate the 25th anniversary of GolfWorks. So on to the formal program. We're going to have a few brief introductions before dinner. Before dinner program is our Player of the Year Award. We're looking forward to that, and then we're going to have dinner, and afterwards, the highlight of the evening will be the Distinguished Service Award. Before we get started, on the dais tonight, those from whom you will not be hearing, our Secretary Ned Zacher, our Treasurer Pat Donnelly, and our Vice President Andy Stock are up here tonight. I'd also like to recognize one of our sponsors. MetLife has been a wonderful sponsor of the MGA, a great partner of golf in the Met section for 35 years. And they've recently kind of re-upped and increased their focus on the MGA Foundation. It's been a wonderful, wonderful partnership. And representing MetLife tonight, I'd like to recognize Bob Peterson, Jim Pabst, Zoltan Gombis, and Tom Ferraro. Thank you, gentlemen. So to give this year's invocation, I'm pleased to introduce a great friend of golf, a great friend of the MGA. He's got strong family ties and has been playing at Wingfoot, and he's the president of Archbishop Stepanek High School in White Plains. We're thrilled, Father Tom Collins, that you could be with us here tonight. Please welcome Tom Collins.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity, Todd. You know, I know this is about a dinner. I know it's also about golf, and as a priest, it's evangelization. You know, but for those of you who are non-Catholic, look, I believe there are many paths to the same destination. So please don't think I'm trying to evangelize just to one faith. So, you know, when I first look at my scriptures, you know, so I look at the Old Testament, the New Testament, and I say, where God, do you have something on golf, and where do you have something on a dinner? Dinner was much easier. So there's a great line from the Gospel of Matthew where Jesus has dinner with a tax collector who would have been considered a sinner. And so there were those who were part of the established religion who would have said, this man welcomes sinners and dines with them. And what was a criticism has become a great blessing, because St. Augustine would say that should be written on every church. This man welcomes sinners and dines with them. And so every meal, I believe, is an opportunity for us to be with the divine life. And so let us remember we're in the holy presence of God. And Lord, I looked closely at the Psalms and looked closely for where your first revelation, creation, is. And I found in Psalm 19 that the heavens declare the glory of God, and the earth shows forth the work of his hands. That, Lord, your hand is involved in every golf course. Your hand is involved in those who love the game, and your hand is involved with those who play the game so well. And then, of course, I saw that the sun, which represents God in so many ways, it comes forth like a bridegroom from his tent. It rejoices like a champion that runs its course. At one end of the sky is its rising, and to the further end is its course, and nothing is concealed from the burning love of God. And so, Lord, we say thank you, Lord, for the great game of golf. Thank you, Lord, for those who honor and keep the prestige of the game loyal. God bless the newest members and administration of the MGA and WMGA. God bless those who are being honored, like Jay Mottola. Bless those that can play the game so well and give the game honor by their game. And God bless the player of our year, Darin Goldstein. And Lord, bless our meal because you are present here amongst us. Bless it so that we are nourished by it. Bless that we are inebriated by it. Bless those of us that are here to celebrate the great game of golf through this wonderful organization, the MGA. And as our newest president had said, Lord, open the generous hearts of those donors to be with us and be good to the MGA. And I say this all through God's holy name. I make the sign of my salvation in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless you all.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Father. And it's just always great to have you here at this dinner. Earlier in the meeting, we talked about all the things that we're doing as an association, and as Michael Sullivan said, it's really all about the people, and I'd like to recognize two groups of people tonight. First, if I could ask anybody in the room who is an MGA committee person, if you're volunteer at the MGA, if you could please stand, that would be great, because you make the world go round. MGA committee people, please stand for a round of applause. So next, I want to thank the staff. We believe that we've got the best staff in state and regional associations. We're so proud of the work they do that we put them out in the back porch. Hi, everybody. Hey. So just a little explanation about tonight's dinner. When we're doing the planning, we said, well, the target is 225, the maximum is 235, and they called last week and they said it's a little bit oversubscribed because everybody wants to come and see Jay and him receive the award, and so we're cutting it off at 265. Where are we putting them? We now have the answer, but our thanks to all the staff. A round of applause, please, for all the great work that they do. A special thanks again to Michael Sullivan. I won't go on and on again about all the great things he did, but our most recent past president, please stand to be recognized, Michael Sullivan. We're so happy to be at Westchester Country Club. This has become our home for this event. They've done a great job decorating and being ready for us here tonight. I'd like to thank the COO, Tom Nevin, the president who's with us tonight, Tom Pisano, and their director of golf, our friend Ben Hoffine. Thank you. So before we meet this year's Player of the Year, I'd like to recognize some outstanding play that took place over the course of the year. First, two players who finished in the top 10, so on the honor roll for outstanding seasons. Chris Gotterup of Rumson and Jack Wall, our Junior Player of the Year. Gentlemen, please stand. This year, the WMGA and MGA were proud to field an outstanding team that went to the French-American Challenge matches in Paris. Valerie DePiro was there, Steve Boyd and Michael Sullivan served as captains. I'd like you to meet the team members that were there with us. So first from the WMGA, one of the top junior competitors, and she's about to go to Augusta for the 4th time for the annual drive, chip, and putt finals, Mega Gagne. Mega? The youngest player on the team, but really played and acted like a veteran. Please recognize Alice Hodge. Representing the MGA, our 2017 Met Amateur champion, he made his debut in the international matches, Matt Mater. Another first-timer and a member of the Player of the Year honor roll, Thomas Lamort. So, now to the important Player of the Year, and it's my pleasure to introduce the very best of the best in the Met section. He has been a 10-time MGA Player of the Year. He has won an outstanding, unbelievable 18 MGA championships, including this year's Senior Masters. We've been friends for 50 years, so it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. George Zaringer.
Thanks very much, Todd, and thank you to Mike Sullivan for all the hard work that you've done during your 2 years as president. It really makes a big difference. And as Todd said earlier, for those of you that were at the MGA meeting a few minutes ago, we're blessed with the greatest collection of golf courses in the metropolitan area in the country, and probably in the world for that matter. And from a player's perspective, I thought I would just say that, because I can say it, and Todd can't say it, but we're also blessed with the greatest golf association in the world, in the MGA. I mean, I think that I've played nationally for years, internationally, and no association conducts championships in the manner and the style that the MGA does, and we're all, as competitors, we're very, very fortunate. So thank you. Thank you, Todd, and thank you to the MGA staff and the volunteers. I'm honored to introduce our 2018 Player of the Year, Darin Goldstein. Darin, when he called me, and we got together, spent a few minutes just going over some of his background, and I kind of said, well, you know, Darin, if I'm going to be on the dais as Player of the Year, and with all the great talent in the MGA, this is probably as close as I'm going to get to the Player of the Year currently. But I'm happy to be here nonetheless. And Darin, for those of you that don't know him, was born and raised in New York City. Went to school in New York City. So he's homegrown through and through. He attended Duke, graduating in 2004. And interestingly, Darin didn't play golf. He played tennis. And I think his skill in the racket sports, certainly there's some genetic aspects to that. And I want to just introduce his father, Stuart Goldstein. Stuart, please stand up. Stuart was the #1 ranked squash player of the world. And so there aren't many, that's what's just... So I think there's a hand-eye competitive issue there that's gotten down from one generation to the other. But Darin played varsity tennis for his 4 years at Duke. During those 4 years, his team was consistently the top 20 NCAA's ranked tennis teams, varsity tennis teams, all 4 years, and in the top 5 for 2 of those years. That's, I think, quite a record just for tennis. He didn't take up golf until 2005. Now, I think that's only 13 years ago, if I did the math correctly. And I kind of remember my first 13 years, maybe my first 23 years, and certainly didn't have the progress and the success that Darin's had. His initial handicap in 2005 was he was a 14 handicap. It's pretty high, and he got down to a 2 handicap within the first year. Now that's pretty low. So that's a heck of an achievement in 1 year to go from a 14 to a 2. His first MGA competitive event was a 2009 Ike qualifier at the Southampton Golf Club. He missed the cut, unfortunately, but it was just sort of sort of a sneak preview of the things that were to come. And interestingly, this year, 9 years later, at Southampton, Darin qualified and made it into the U.S. Open sectionals, which in and of itself is a heck of an achievement. Clearly, Darin is a competitor. He's an unbelievably hard worker. You don't make the kind of progress in any sport that Darin's made, particularly starting, kind of a little bit later in life, that Darin has made. In 2015, he made it into the top 10 of the Player of the Year list. That was he kind of cracked the code. 2016, and by the way, in 2015 he was 5th. Out of kind of nowhere. In 2016, he was 3rd. 2017, he was 2nd to James Nicklaus. And this year, 2018, he made it to number 1. So when I look at that sequence, I mean, it tells me that Darin's success this year is no fluke. It's a product of a lot of hard work, a lot of determination, a lot of talent. But a lot of effort, and to play in 15 of the 15 he played in. How many MGA events did he play in? Yeah, he probably played in 15 or 16 MGA point qualifying events, and got points in 15 of them. Now, so it's not like he had a fluky season and won 1 or 2 events that sort of carried him to the finish line. He got points consistently over the whole year, and as was mentioned earlier tonight, he ended up prevailing by 4 points, 864 points to 860 points, which in the last event of the year, which to me just shows you how determination and setting a goal, having your eye on that goal, doing what it takes to achieve that goal, with the support of his family, his wife Barbara, his young children, one of whom his daughter Sunny, who's here tonight, and it just shows you what you can do with a lot of hard work. But it's my pleasure to introduce my friend Darin Goldstein and as your 2018 Player of the Year.
This is pretty overwhelming. Say, like, George, there's simply not enough to say thank you for your friendship and mentorship over the years. It's meant a ton to me. You've been an amazing friend and shown me so much. Thank you so much. Good evening. I'd like to congratulate Jack Wall on his Callaway Junior Player of the Year award. Fantastic season. I'd also like to acknowledge my international team members from France, and that was a great time. Jay, congratulations on your prestigious award. It's very well deserved. I also must acknowledge James Nicholas and congratulate him on his outstanding year. I must confess it was very awkward warming up next to someone week after week coming down the stretch, making small talk. We're both friends and talking about future tournament plans, how someone's ankle's feeling, how someone's back is feeling, all not mentioning the fact of what the points going on. Both have the points memorized. Everyone knows where everyone stands, but not talking about it. We're just going and playing, and just going to advise him, turn pro. Please. For all, he's going to have an amazing career. He's an unbelievable player. If you haven't seen him hit the ball, it's amazing. So I look forward to following his success on tour. To Michael Sullivan, our international captain, thank you for your leadership these last few years. I have great memories of our trips to Ireland and France. Michael went out of his way to teach me about the larger role the MGA plays as an institution. I look forward to growing my involvement within the MGA in the next, over the next years. It's an amazing place with fantastic people. Thank you very much. I'd also like to express my gratitude to the entire tournament staff, the championship department, Chris Gaffney, all the volunteers that make it look so easy week to week and provide such a high-level tournament experience for all the players. The MGA, as George has mentioned, and we all know without a doubt, is the premier regional golf association in the country. And the championship department plays a huge role in that, and their hard work is truly amazing. I'd also like to thank all of the member clubs that open up their golf courses during the course of the season, especially high season, to allow us to come and play. It's a huge ask to open up your course and let us take over for a few days. And we're just so lucky to play the quality of golf courses that we have in the region. It's thank you again to all the volunteers as well who spend their time helping out in all these tournaments. We're so lucky. There's just nothing to say about being able to tee it up at the greatest golf courses in the world. Thank you. Just a quick thanks to Helen Stock and the communications department. I'm not a huge social media person, but I'm getting there. I'm not Trevor Randolph level, if anyone knows. But because of you guys, I'm getting more and more, and you guys do an unbelievable job, so thank you very much. Any list of mentions is incomplete without acknowledging Trevor's international caddy, Brian Mahoney. All kidding aside, Brian, thank you so much for your support over the years. I wouldn't be here with all you've done for me, and you've become a great friend. And the MGA is very fortunate to have you as their leader with your skill and passion for the game of golf. It's a true honor to call you my friend. I'd like to thank the MGA Executive Committee for this tremendous honor. Just see my name up here with the greatest amateurs in the last 40 years or so. It's just completely mind-boggling, actually. It's really crazy. But as George briefly touched on, I registered for my first Met area event in 2009. My good friend Phil Giordano played in that with me. I shot 81, he shot 79. But the backstory of why I started playing tournaments, I'll just spend like 2 minutes touching on. My goal when I started playing golf, when I got into it in the mid-2000s, was to win the Noyak Club Championship. That was my masters. That was the main That was the goal I had. And I was standing on the putting green practicing, and Dave Gajewski, who's a longtime pro, taught me how to play, comes up, and I had just had a heartbreaking loss in the first round of the club championship to Avery Shiner, a very nice man. And he comes up, he puts his arm around me, and he's like, look, I know you want to win this thing really badly, but if you want to get better, if you really want to compete, and then you really want to win this thing, you've got to play in some real tournaments with the likes of the George Zarringers. No joke, he mentions, because you got to play against the George Zarringers of the world. And so I signed up for the next season. 2010 comes around, and I eagerly sign up on the MGA website, and it's whenever it is, April or March, whenever the registration opens, and I sign up for everything, every event. And like a couple weeks later, I get an email back and saying, we have to refund your Pub Links entry fee. This is how green I was. I didn't know what the Pub Links was. I just signed up for, I wanted to play tournaments. I was so into it. I just signed up for everything. So started playing more and more golf. And a few years later, it's the final round of the 2013 Long Island Mid-Am, paired with Joe Saladino in the final round, and we're on the 36th hole, the final hole, and we have the lead. And it's the first time, I've never been in contention before of an event. It's sort of an out-of-body experience going on, and get to the 36th hole, and look at Kyle, my caddy, and I say, what should we hit here? Driver. Hands me driver. OB down the right. Hands me just pump it up the middle. So go, hit drive, I'm walking off, and I see him talking to someone off to the side of the tee box. And I overhear him, and the guy goes, why did you have him hit driver here? Kyle takes the driver, puts it in the bag. You can't shank a driver. So we walk up, I get up and hit the ball on the green, lag my putt up to 4 feet, and I'm shaking, trying to mark my ball. I have total deer in headlights. I don't know what's going on. At 4 feet, mark the ball, look to Kyle, I go, what do we do here? He goes, what? He looks at me like I got 3 heads. He goes, what do you mean, what do we do? You make the putt, roll it in. I go, okay. Mark the ball, knock it in, and that was the first tournament I ever won. And Kyle, thank you so much for everything over the years. Wouldn't be here without you. You've been an amazing part of my team, and a great friend. Thank you so much. So just to close it out, anyone with a family who plays, where did they go? Oh, there they are. Knows if your wife doesn't enthusiastically support you and your playing schedule, you have no chance of playing well. I'm really so lucky to have Barbara, my wife, as my biggest cheerleader. And whatever success I have on the course is so much more enjoyable because I get to share it with you. I know it's not easy being alone week after week in high tournament season, but I don't say it nearly enough, but thank you. And Sunny, my daughter. Sunny, hi. My daughter is here tonight, and it means so much to me to be able to share this with you. I love you. Lastly, Stu, my father. I've looked up to you my whole life. You're my hero, my idol, my best friend. Everything I have in this world has come from you. You provided me with the opportunities to follow my dreams, whatever they were and whatever they've become. And you've provided me with both support, both financially, emotionally, everything. And just thank you so much. And happy holidays, everyone, and thank you. One last, and
So before George and Darin go away, Darin, congratulations on a great season. Now that he's reached number one, who knows what the future will bring, but we're going to be watching it closely. We're also very happy to welcome Darin onto the MGA Foundation Board and look forward to working with him there. One more award I'll ask George to help with our friends from Vineyard Vines. We have a blazer to commemorate his Player of the Year award. Everyone, enjoy your dinner. May I have your attention? We recognize that you are still eating, and that's fine to go ahead and finish your dinners, but we'd like to move forward with tonight's festivities because we've come to the highlight of the evening. Thank you very much. And that is the presentation of the Metropolitan Golf Association's Distinguished Service Award. The impressive list of past winners of the DSA speaks to the importance of this award, and we're delighted that some of the past winners are here with us this evening. First, and I'm going to ask each of these people to stand, a man known to virtually everyone here tonight as one of the top tournament administrators in the game, rules official, phenom, our great friend, the 2008 DSA winner, Gene Westmoreland. Next, I'd like to introduce the trio of three past presidents as a group. Their collective years of service to Met Golf passed 100 years a while ago. Their accomplishments on behalf of the MGA and the area golf are truly legendary. Please recognize Joe Donahue, Paul Dillon, and Jim Cotter. And tonight we give special thanks to Joe. He was the one responsible for hiring Jay Mottola way back then. It was an excellent decision. We also welcome the recently retired Executive Director of the Met PGA, our 2003 recipient, who has spent the last 5 decades leading local golf, Mr. Charlie Robson. You'll be hearing more from him later on, but our 2009 recipient first worked at the MGA as a communications director in the 1970s before beginning his career at the USGA, where he eventually became executive director, Mr. David Fay. And finally, the DSA honoree who was instrumental in creating GolfWorks and the award-winning Met Golfer magazine, one of our most popular choices ever, our own Jeannie McCooey. So we'd like to take a moment to honor the lives of 2 extraordinary golf luminaries who we lost this year. Both of them were Distinguished Service Award winners. The first, Mr. Dave Anderson, Pulitzer Prize-winning New York Times golf writer, Met Golf Writers Association Lincoln Worden Golf Journalism Awardee in 1996, a longtime Met Golf Writers Association board member, recipient of the 2007 Distinguished Service Award of the MGA, a cherished friend to many of us here tonight, huge champion of the game in the Met area and around the world. He was kind, funny, intelligent, brilliant, and prolific writer, and he will be sorely missed. We also mourn the loss of Mr. Jim Hand, a mainstay of the Met area golf, a recipient of the DSA in 1986, and the Met Golf Writers Association DSA in 1989. He served as president of the USGA beginning in 1984, was a member of the U.S. Seniors International team 24 times. He was a terrific player, receiving their prestigious William C. Campbell Award in 2011. Good player, huge supporter of the game we all love, and we'll remember both of these remarkable men with love and fondness. Let's have a round of applause for 2 lives well lived. So now I'd like to call on past president and chair of the DSA committee, Mr. Jeff Holshoe, to introduce this year's very deserving honoree.
Thank you, Todd. It's my pleasure to do this evening. So just a quick couple minutes of background, and then we'll get right to the business. So the Metropolitan Golf Association's Distinguished Service Award was started to be presented in 1973. So we've got an incredible history, and we couldn't be more proud of the list of names you just heard. And if you look at the entire list, you'd be incredibly impressed. And we're going to add another impressive name to that list tonight. So as the chairman of the DSA and a former president, as Todd said, I'm quite familiar with the criteria that we use to select these recipients, and it's why we consider it the MGA's highest honor. It's given to a person who has contributed distinguished service to golf and its related activities, consistent with the valued standards and honorable traditions of the game. I've been lucky enough to have known and worked with Jay for more than a quarter of a century. I can think of no one who's more deserving of this honor than he is. Jay embodies fully everything that the DSA represents, and his commitment and service to the game on all levels is truly exemplary. So as you can imagine, when we tasked our communications team to do a short video, all of his accomplishments and good deeds turned into a multi-hour movie. So we're grateful for Helen and her staff and the editors. After the video, and we're going to show you the video in a minute, after the video, I'm going to ask David Fay to come up, who, as Todd just described, is the executive director of the USGA, recipient of our 2009 DSA award, but more importantly, a friend of Jay's since kindergarten. I kid you not, kindergarten. That was like 1910? When was that? So let me please direct all of you to the video screens.
Now that was a terrific video. I've seen many videos. Helen, you did a superb job. It did such a terrific job of highlighting 5 decades of some of Jay's many accomplishments during his distinguished MGA career. 5 decades. Why 5 decades? Well, thanks to 2 people, Jim McLaughlin, former executive director of the MGA, and Peter Bisconti, former tournament director of the MGA, came up with this idea in 1977 to have tournament operation coaches. And there were 3 people who were selected: Hank Margada, Gene Westmoreland, and yes, Jay Mottola. And I dare say, without that program, I don't know if Jay would have found the MGA or if the MGA would have found Jay. Now, earlier this week, Jeff, Todd, and I got a little message from Jay. You know, he's sort of a control freak. And he said, feel free to make fun of me if you wish. And my response was, make fun of you? We had that roast for you out at Southampton Golf Club during US Open week. Make fun of you? If we make any more fun of you, this is going to seem like an Elton John a farewell tour that never ends. So no making fun of you tonight. There's just too much to cover. Jeff said that Jay and I have known one another since kindergarten at Tuxedo. Tuxedo, that great town with the memorable zip code, 10987. Well, we knew one another well before kindergarten. Our mothers were good friends. They put us together in our cradles when we were months apart in 1950. So, here I am seeing this wonderful video, knowing the accomplishments and knowing that the man that we're to honor tonight, if the MGA didn't have a Distinguished Service Award after seeing that video, they'd create one immediately. But you ask yourself, or I ask myself, how do you encapsulate 68 years into a minute or two? Well, what else a golf recollection. And I'm sorry, but I'll be reading this one. It was the late 1960s, and for an 18-year-old, starting work at the golf course at the crack of dawn was definitely not the highlight of the day. However, after that early morning start and a long day spent cutting greens, raking bunkers, mowing rough, my buddy and I would clean up a bit and head to the first tee at the Tuxedo Club. We'd graduated from the caddy yards to the grounds crew, and since we weren't members, one of the great perks for two budding teenage golfers was that we got to play in the afternoons after work. When we arrived at the first tee, we were energized. This was the highlight of the day. I think my buddy's start in golf at Tuxedo as a caddy and maintenance staff member had a lot to do with him earning the MGA's highest honor. And just think, the path all started with two young guys just throwing their bags over their shoulders, enjoying golf for what it is, the best game of all. Now, Jay, you're probably scratching your head. You're thinking, I've heard those words before. Well, of course you've heard the words before because you created them. Those were Jay's words that he wrote about me in 2009 in the Met Golfer. So, as true as the words ring for me, I certainly hope they ring for you, true for you too. I also remember in 2009 when I won the DSA, Jay presented the trophy to me and he said, you know, we've been in diapers. We've known one another since we've been in diapers, and I really wanted to get the chance to give you this award before we were both back in diapers. Well, I'm not wearing a diaper. I checked it out. You're not wearing one either. Patty told me. And most importantly, not only are we not wearing diapers, but we have enough presence of mind still. I mean, I'm losing a few cards in the deck to know what it is that we're seeing and witnessing. And all I can say is that you are certainly the most distinguished person that I've ever known. And knowing that Jay is a very proud member of a club in Scotland, the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews. I'm gonna turn Scottish for a moment and ask you all to charge your glasses and be upstanding, get up, and join me in toasting the 2018 MGA Distinguished Service Award winner, my great dear old friend, Jay Mottola. Cheers.
Look that way. Get in here, David.
And I told Helen nothing over the top tonight. I guess that didn't work. I'd first like to thank Jeff and the DSA committee and the management group for this wonderful honor. It obviously means a lot to me. And to David, to have you here to help present the award, it makes it extra special. To Darin and Jack Wall and to Rob Bluestone and other champions that are here tonight, I add my congratulations. And a special and a quick shout out to Helen Stock and Matty Vetrano for all of their work and making all the details tonight so special. You know, in talking about what I might say tonight, I'm going to start with a question a friend asked. He said, Jay, you've had a long run at the MGA. Do you have any regrets? And it was an interesting question, and it's sort of a logical question, but I hadn't really thought about it. And my first thought was, I've been lucky, I have very few. But for anybody who's been my golf partner over the last 10 or 15 years, I do have one big regret. We all expect our game to decrease as you get a little older. My decline is a little faster than steeper than I would like. And as David knows, I'm one of those guys whose game peaked when I was 17 or 18, so for the last 50 years, it's been straight downhill. And to be honest, it is a real regret that I didn't take the time to maintain some semblance of a competitive golf game, because I love to play like so many of you in the room. But I do have one happy bit of news to report. I actually snuck in one last round at Tuxedo a few weeks ago on one of the few nice fall days that we had, and I actually played pretty well. And so when I got home that afternoon, Patty, who's always very polite, said, you know, how was your day? How'd you play? And she really doesn't listen to my answer because it's always been some combination of don't ask, awful, worse than ever, as she knows. But I was really happy to tell her I played well and happy to tell her about my round. I said, you won't believe it, I hit the ball well. I stood on the 18th tee, and all I needed to do was make a bogey 6 to break 80 for the first time all year. And I hit a great drive. I thought of laying up to make sure, and again, those that know me, I thought about that for 10 seconds and took out my 3-wood. Just came off it a little bit, hit it in the right bunker, hit the bunker shot a little thin. Well, I bladed it over the green. I told Patty I'd chip back long, and she says, Jay, wait a minute, you're confusing me. And I said, where'd I lose you, when I hit the chip shot or the bunker shot? And she said, no, you're confusing me with somebody who gives a damn about your golf game. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not confusing you with anybody that wants to hear a long speech from me, but I do have some things to say, and some of them you've heard tonight, but I'm going to repeat them. First, when I looked at the list of past winners after being notified about the award, there's 45 people on that list, and I've been here a while, and I've known all but 4 of them, men and women who have done so much for golf, for the MGA and the game here in the Met area, and all I can say is it's humbling for me to add my name to the list. And for 2018, my name will be on the award, but any recognition I get is really recognition for the Metropolitan Golf Association itself and for the team that makes the MGA go, our staff and our volunteers. And again, they've been thanked and you've heard about them tonight. But to the 300 volunteers, to the men and women who rate our golf course, run our championships, make all our programs go, to the members of the executive committee and foundation board, I've said it before and I'll say it again tonight, we couldn't do what we do without your dedication and service to the game. And over those years, I've dealt with the leaders of the MGA, and I've served under 21 different presidents. And a friend of mine said, wow, you survived 21 different presidents. But working at the MGA was never about survival. The leaders of the staff and the leaders of the MGA were always in sync. There was no personal agenda, no big egos. Well, maybe there were some big egos, but everyone checked them at the door. And as you heard earlier, we were always driven by 2 simple principles: do what's best for the association and what's best for the game. And that served us well, and we've been able to accomplish a lot. Being president is a special job, and again, I was privileged to serve with all 21 of those gentlemen, from Joe Donahue in 1980 to Mike Sullivan and Todd a few hours into his term. So to all the volunteers and to those 21 past presidents, you have my thanks and appreciation. To the staff, past and present, that group of 7 or 8 that started at the Lincoln Building in New York City, to the much bigger crew that works out of Golf Central now. From day one, as Jeannie mentioned, there was a culture of service, there was a passion for doing things well. I don't really know how or why that has always permeated everything on the staff level at the MGA, but we've all benefited from it. And when I think of the staff, I think of one of my favorite sayings that I always remember, that nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. if you don't have to do it yourself. And when I think about the new programs and services and projects and buildings and everything that the MGA took on, and me saying yes to a new thing, I'm sure the MGA staff at times thought that that saying was, nothing is impossible if Jay doesn't have to do it by himself. And I did very little by myself. I was part of a great team. I'd like to thank each and every one of them by name, but obviously I don't have time to do that. But I do need to single out two people that you've met already, Jean Westmoreland and Jeannie McCooey. For 30 plus years, they were the very best at what they do, and so much of what the MGA has been able to accomplish is a result of their work. And joining them as a DSA winner tonight completes the triangle. So to Jean and Jeannie and all the members of the staff, thank you, and I share this award with you. You've heard me use the words lucky and fortunate already, and I'm going to use them again. As Dave mentioned, we got our start early in the game. I was lucky my dad taught me the game at a very early age. We learned to love the game as caddies and members of the grounds crew at Tuxedo, playing public golf in the Hudson Valley, playing okay, and being able to continue playing in college. And as has been said, I think that introduction in the game from the ground up as a caddy and pub links player has given me great perspective on the game over the years. And as David said, in 1977, I was lucky not to be busy during the summer and got a call from David about some part-time work at the MGA. A few years later, a full-time job opened up, and in less than 2 years into my full-time staff work at the MGA, they took a big chance on a young kid and made me the executive director. And I would like to point out that it was a big chance for a Lehigh guy named Joe Donahue to hire a kid from Lafayette and bet on him. And so the next 36 years of my life, I had a wonderful career working in and around a game that I love, surrounded by people that I respect, and working for one of the best organizations in golf. So I've been lucky indeed. People have asked me to just talk about some of the things I might be proud of. And I'm not going to talk about programs or services or buildings or things that happened at the MGA because it was that team that did those. I did my job and worked hard at it. But I do want to mention just a few things. As the video earlier with Todd really pointed out, I'm very proud of the foundation work in our programs, GolfWorks, the first tee of Metropolitan, New York, which we started with our friends from the Met PGA, and it's now the largest and most impactful chapter in the country. I'm proud of the role the MGA has played in introducing and making sure that women are involved in every phase of our game and at all levels at our club. Having 4 daughters and a wife, I better say that. And I'm very proud that the MGA has continued to understand and respect the importance of public golf and pub links players. And when I think about the challenges the future of the game faces, getting more women involved and more pub links players involved is so critical to that future. The next few things are a little more personal. You know, in working for 38 years for the MGA and representing them in interactions with literally thousands of people over that time, from caddies to corporate CEOs, from locker room attendants to presidents of clubs, from interns and rookie staff members to the heads of national golf organizations. In every case, in dealing with all of those people representing the MGA, I've tried to treat people fairly, honestly, and with respect. That was not only the right thing to do, but all those people are important to our game, and they deserved it. I think that served me well over the years, and I think it's paid dividends for the MGA and the relationships that we've built in the local golf community. And I'm proud of our relationship with the local golf professionals, superintendents, and managers, and many of them are here tonight. And obviously those people here in the Met area represent the best and the brightest. To our sister associations at the local and regional level, proud of those relationships. And obviously, for many years, we've had a very special relationship with people like David and our representatives from the USGA that are here tonight. And our relationship with the USGA goes back 120 years, and it's very important to me in our game. The final group I'm going to recognize and tell you how proud I am is my family, and I'm going to embarrass them by asking Jacqueline, Emily, Lauren, Meredith, and my wife Patty to please stand up. I'm just going to say this briefly. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. Your love and support makes everything worthwhile. Thank you, ladies. I'm so proud that my son-in-law Robert and Jimmy are at the table, and a number of friends I know made a special effort to be here tonight, and your presence really makes it special. I'm lucky to be connected to 3 wonderful clubs here in the Met area. To my friends at Knollwood, Tuxedo, and now Sleepy Hollow, thank you so much for your presence tonight and for your support. I hope that you'll see a little more of me in the future. And thanks to everyone here for making this such a special night for me and my family. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to ask you to take a quick journey with me. It starts at the veranda, looking out over Shinnecock Hills and the beauty of that golf course. It takes me to the 4th hole at Bethpage, when you walk to the tee and really see the power and the majesty of the black course for the first time. It takes us across New York City to the 2nd hole at Somerset Hills, where you stand on the tee and try to figure out Tillinghast Redan hole and how to play it. It takes me to the image of Nicklaus raising his putter at the 18th green at Baltusrol, winning the Open. To any beautiful fall night at the Tuxedo Club, throwing your bag over your shoulder and sneaking in a few extra holes. To the 16th tee at Sleepy Hollow, looking out over the golf course and the Hudson and the Palisades in the background. To right nearby at Wingfoot, where we all remember Davis Love winning the PGA and a rainbow encircling the 18th green. To right here tonight, to the elegance that is Westchester Country Club. And I could have named 100 other places and images, but I hope that that reminds us all of how lucky we are to be involved with this wonderful game, and how special it is to play and be around the game here in the Met area. Has been said before, we have the best courses and clubs on the planet. It's where the game in the United States started. It's where the game's values and traditions are still honored and respected. But let's also take a minute to think about the fact that all of our abundance of golf riches didn't just happen. We get to enjoy those things because those that came before us, those that love the game and give back, the volunteers that give back to the game, the groups and associations that work to serve the game, have all worked to leave the game a little better than they found it. Over the last 38 years, I'm proud of the role that the MGA has played in making the game better here in the Met area, and proud to be part of the team that made that happen. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm so thankful for you sharing this night with me and this special honor, but to be honest, just allowing me to be on that journey and part of the team was thanks enough. Thank you. I have to say, I'm glad that's over.
Well, congratulations to Jay, a truly deserving honor. I do have one more special announcement to make. It is now my great privilege to announce our intent to launch a new Caddy Scholarship program and an inaugural planned giving initiative to honor Jay Mottola. More details will be provided on our website and in correspondence you're going to be hearing very soon, but we're very excited to be able to honor Jay in this way. Last but certainly not least, we have a special portrait of Jay created by our very own resident artist extraordinary, Mr. Paul Dillon. Paul, could you just stand and be recognized, please? Thanks. Jay, you want to stand? So it's been a wonderful year for the MGA. We've had a wonderful evening tonight. Thank you so much for your participation. Thanks for all you do for the MGA over the course of the year. Safe travels home. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. And I look forward to seeing you all next year. Thank you very much.